What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today we are going to get into Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. Some interesting topics that he brought up and some things to break down about this New York Jets team. We will start with the most important part, that he is still trying to make a comeback, and his exact quote was, "I expect us to be in it and I expect to come back." The first part there is really the key, because there's no reason to bring him back to recover from an injury, or after recovering from an injury, excuse me, if you are already out of the mix, right? Like, isn't that something that's really key in all of this? Is you still have to be alive to come back. And what is the threshold, I would say, is what we really have to define. What's the point? So if we're assuming mid-December, which he didn't deny that, by the way. So he didn't deny the mid-December return date for playing in a game. He mentioned the NBC telecast, the report from Melissa Stark. He said that her report was based on info from his doctor and not him, but he wasn't denying it. So he's pretty much saying that that's, I would assume, the goal. But mid-December, that puts you at how many games left? 3? I guess if you want to go right as close to the middle as you can get, they play December 17th against the Miami Dolphins. But after that, you have December 24th, Christmas Eve, Washington, the 28th, Thursday Night Football against Cleveland, and then against New England on January 7th for the last regular season game of the 2023 NFL season. So Miami or Washington, I get mid-December is Miami, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 more games played by the time you get to that mid-December mark. If the Jets are 6-7, would you consider it? I think that's the absolute worst. You get to an 8th loss, I don't think you bring him back. I think you probably would have to be even 7-6 if we're being honest with ourselves. And that might be a tough ask, but I think that's my threshold, is if you're 2-2 over your next 4, maybe they think about bringing him back, depending on what the division looks like and all those stuff. But there's so many factors that go into it. It's not so easy as, okay, he's healthy, put him in there. There's a little bit more involved with the playoff standings. Also, he addressed a rumor that his Achilles wasn't completely torn, which that rumor was pretty quickly put to bed. He said it was, in fact, a rupture, which I never necessarily bought that it wasn't a rupture. I don't think they were doing this just for views. I don't think they were doing this for a storyline or whatever narrative you want to push. I do think that he was hurt and is now trying to make a comeback. Like, I never understood the conspiracies there. I'm not a big conspiracy theory guy to begin with, but we'll leave that one as is. And then finally we get to the Nathaniel Hackett defense. So with Nathaniel Hackett, it's been very obvious that that's the player, or that's the coach rather, that Aaron Rodgers likes the most. That's the one that he wanted to team back up with. And he's defending him. He's saying, I won an MVP twice in the same offense, so I'm a believer. It hasn't worked without Aaron Rodgers in Denver. It did not work with Russell Wilson. It's not working right now with Zach Wilson. We did see it work with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is a special human. It's starting to look a little bit like the the Peyton Manning and Adam Gase combination, but that's the vibes that I get from it. But having a great quarterback kind of puts some of the other problems, it makes the other problems not stand out as much, I guess. That's a better way of saying it. It's not as obvious, some of the mistakes, when you have an elite level quarterback, and the Jets don't have that right now. They have a backup quarterback in there. But Aaron Rodgers is attempting to make a comeback. He plans to play. He thinks the Jets are still going to be in it by mid-December against Miami. The 24th after that, Christmas Eve against Washington. You got to find ways to get into the end zone now in the short term. You have to find ways to start scoring touchdowns immediately. Just take care of business. They haven't been able to do that the last 2 weeks. They've lost the last 2 weeks. They haven't scored a touchdown the last 2 weeks. They've gone 36 drives in a row without scoring a touchdown. It's got to change, and it has to change now. Let me know your thoughts on the coverage today on Aaron Rodgers. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.